presidential speech. And see kidogo kidogo tunaona mchana the president saying I want to talk to you guys at 2.
At 2, yeah. Ikakuwa 3.
Ikaingia 4, sindio?
I think ilifika 3:34 somewhere there. Yeah.
Yes. So the headline why they had to fall is there's a picture painted from page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Daily Nation with all the faces of the CSs that were fired yesterday by the president after a long call by the public general, and he decided to do that. So President William fired all but one of the cabinet secretaries as he once again yielded to pressure from young had protested against unpopular taxes and extravagance by officials in the face of economic hardships by the majority.
That's right. And also just plain incompetence. I think if you remember some of the cabinet secretaries, the scandals that we've dealt with this year alone, we and livestock that was formerly headed by Mithika Linturi, that fake fertilizer scandal that shook Kenyans to the core. Of course, I think a lot of the times whenever something comes into the public, into the limelight, there's so much more that has gone on chini ya maji that we have no idea, right?
Yeah,
so we can't really account for what fertilizer we use, where it comes from, if it's legit or fake, if it's good for consumption, and so many other questions.
And you remember before her appointment, Aisha Jumwa's credentials were questioned. Even during vetting, Kenyans were asking, why would you do something like that? Why would you appoint her as the Gender, Culture and Arts and Heritage Cabinet Secretary?
Yep.
And it was a resounding tone that she is not competent to lead the office. Na akakuwa bado appointed. But this time around, I think everyone is now home. And we saw from people Murkomen, Roads and Transport, where he would flex about whatever he owns in different spaces. And it did not sit well, especially with the younger generation who are mostly unemployed and have worked equally hard to just be the men and women that they are today.
True. I mean, wearing a watch that's worth twice what you make, 3 times what you make, I don't know. Questions abound, right? In the health docket, this week, intern doctors were camping outside Afia House. They slept outside in the cold on Monday evening, trying to make sure that all interns are posted and are employed according to the CBA that was signed in 2017. CS Nahumicha was one, very silent for a very long time about the health crisis. Doctors were on strike earlier in the year for about 50 days plus. Again, almost, silenced the entire time from her docket. So those are just some of the examples. Ezekiel Mashugu under education, we've seen the decimation of our education system.
Yes.
I don't even know where to begin. If your budget cannot have an allocation for a school feeding program.
Yes.
Tunaenda wapi?
Yeah, Moses Kuria pia uliangalia, everyone was just questioning, why would you put him as the public service performance and delivery management? Before that, he was on trade, investments, trade and industry. And of course, there's a switch up. And we saw such an instance. One person that at least worked well, and we can say alijaribu kidogo, was Rebecca Miano, investments, trade and industry. Alijaribu sana, just trying to make sure that everything goes well. Kindiki was also trying a little bit, but he was seen all over the country trying to bring about security. But with the issues that we saw,
with the protest,
with the protest, how it was handled, I think that's where the ball dropped. And also a big question on the NIS. We saw contradictory statements from our president and our deputy president, and that's why we are looking at a situation whereby most of the industries have not been working well. Right now, all eyes on PSs after the president has sent the ministers packing. So that is 51. That's the total number of PSs who are going to now step up. And we've seen so many major meetings happening before this firing, because last week headline that read "Last Supper," the last. It's like the media knows exactly before it starts raining.
That's true. Now, a few questions are still left. Why was Musalia Mudavadi left untouched? He's the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. That particular seat, that of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, is technically unconstitutional. So why is he still there? Of course, there's a story on page 6 that says it's because President Ruto, because of his tough relations with his deputy right now, needs someone to keep the house in check.
A third party in the room.
Yes, needs a third party in the room, and that's Musalia Mudavadi. Also, what next? How do we also hold these former cabinet secretaries to account for what happened in their tenures? Lost money. I would say loss of life as well for the interior. That's Kindiki.
Yes.
Whatever has happened over the last 3 weeks, as far as abductions, as far as loss of life, how do we hold them accountable?
Police departments should also now be investigated. I feel like with the incidences that have happened, they were unnecessary, and we need to also look at what has been going on. Most recently, unfortunately, we've also seen the fallout between the AG and the president.
Yes.
It was just a silent tone, but there was tension in between the two offices, the presidency and the Attorney General's office as well. You can read page 6 as well. As Mariam has said, you'll see a headline that reads, "Did the Attorney General talk himself out of a job?"